All right, what is low T? The reason I bring this up, I'm just reading an email from a young gorilla brother named Kurt. And he's only 28 years old, but yeah, that's usually you're going to have a little longer run with your test levels. Are going to stay a little bit higher, but that's not always the case. There are people that after 20, their shit begins to decline some. There are people that are low from the get. There are people that begin to decline in their late 20s to 30. And some people hang in there longer. So it's completely an individual thing. But it's, today, look, all this stereotype kind of shit and this judgmental bullshit, you got to do what's going to make you feel better. Okay? This isn't the easiest world we live in nowadays. True, it's not, 100 or 200 years ago. We don't really have to get up and go out. I chop wood. We don't have to really get up and go out and chop wood and depend on wood to burn everything. Of course, we were a lot better when we did, because where did all the ash go? The ash went back into the ground. People dumped the ash in their garden, and then that put all the minerals in the fucking ground, and then the vegetables grew and the plants grew that you ate, and they were rich and abundant. And today they just aren't. I'm sorry. I don't care what people try to tell you that it's bullshit or whatever. They are not the same anymore. Okay? Most of these fertilizers and the things that large-scale farms use today to grow vegetables, number one, they're using the same ground over and over again, and they rotate crops to try and bring it back somewhat, but it still leaves a huge deficit. And pretty much most all of the products that they put into the ground in that interest to restore the ground, you're only considering like 4 nutrients, whereas there's like 91 that should be there. 91, and you're only getting 4 back in there in any significant amount. So it may look the same, it may not be, it may be nice and shiny and all, but the ground, the minerals are just not in the ground. I'm sorry, they're just not in the ground like that anymore. So all the pollution in the air, all these radio frequency waves going through your body 24/7. Now, they've already come out and said that it's true that a cell phone smacked up against the side of your head all day is causing brain tumors in people. People are getting brain tumors from the shit. But does that mean people are going to stop doing it? No. Oh, no. Hell, brain tumor? That can't be true. Or they just don't care. It won't happen to me, right? Because it's more important to keep that phone glued to the side of your head. Well, if it is causing brain tumors, what do you think it's doing to you, all these waves all over, coming through your body all day long? Think about how many are in the air every time you see a cell phone tower, and all kind of radio waves. I mean, not just the cell phones, but, is it any wonder that our test levels are fucked? I mean, there was a study done by Hopkins way back in like the 80s that decided that the average man then had like half the circulating blood test levels of his 1950 counterpart. So they try to cover the shit up, and there's evidence and studies, and there's people that decry both sides of that argument or support either side of that argument against the other. But what it all comes down to is you, the individual. What are you feeling like today? Right? So we may not have as labor intensive a lifestyle as our ancestors had, but it seems almost like you have to work harder and harder just to survive. Because now we're just hamsters on a wheel, just turning a wheel for somebody else's real profit. We're kept busy. We're kept occupied. We're literally kept occupied, most of the week. And we live for what? We live for someone else's fucking profit until the weekend gets here, and then we get 2 days to actually live. Does that sound like much of a life? Doesn't sound like a whole lot of life to me, but it's what we got. So anyway, whole point, took the long way around, but what I'm getting at is this issue with low T. It's a real deal thing, and there shouldn't be any stigma about it, and you shouldn't have to consider everybody else's opinion that how bad testosterone is and this and that. You're a man, it's your primary hormone in your body. It is what drives you. If you And there's so many other hormones are affected. It's not the only one. There's shit that we don't even know about or don't have information about that also, drops off. Some with good reason. Some things drop off with good reason, but that's too early. So I would absolutely, he had it tested a few years back, and he was at 328 2 years ago. Now, he just had it tested again because he feels chronically tired and a little brain fog and all this other stuff, and sex drive is down. And he just had it tested again. He's 304. So he's gone from 328 to 304 in 2 years. People say, well, maybe it varies a little bit. Well, why can't it vary up a little bit? You know what I mean? So, excuse me. I would definitely look into replacement. And we're talking about the normal range, okay? He's at 304. The normal range is so vast that we're talking about. All the figures are not specific. It's about an individual case basis. And then we still don't have anything even close to reasonable. You're talking about 270 to 1070, with the average being about 679. Okay, so he's at 304. Yeah. Now here's where it really can become problematic for people and why they really feel kind of bad and shitty. What if you're a guy that was at the high range? What if most of your younger years, as a young man, you were up near that 1,000, you were up high, or 800 or 900, okay, with the average being 679. So you functioned most of all that period of time on the high end of the scale, didn't even know you were up there, but you felt great. So now you're all the way slammed down near the bottom. It's near the bottom range of what's considered acceptable, around 270, 300, whatever. Then that's a big drop. So for you, that's going to be a dramatic difference in the way that you feel. Dramatic. Now, if you're a guy that functioned most of his life around that mid-range, 679, or that's what they say is the average, or say you were even at 500 or 600. And you're used to that. You're accustomed to that. That's what you've been rolling with. When you drop down to 3, you may not feel horrible. You're not going to feel great, but you may not feel horrible, right? Because it's not that big of a difference. It's a big difference. It's half. But if you happen to have been up around the 900s or the 800s or the 1,000, okay, within that normal range, and you were just, or you could have been a higher than normal range. But let's just say you were up near the top, and now you're all the way down near the bottom of that range. That's a huge, dramatic drop, and you're going to feel completely different because of that. So absolutely, I don't see any hesitation or any problem with augmenting your level with TRT, with genuine, and the problem with the fitness channel is, these fitness channels is, with all these little busters and stuff, we don't really talk about things from a health perspective as, legitimate therapy. Anytime you hear testosterone, people want to scream about, oh, that's unnatural, that's, bad for you, that causes this, causes that. Well, really? Well, I remember probably 20 years ago when in Europe they were prescribing testosterone replacement therapy, way long before we even thought of it. And they were the first to start to give it to, guys post-heart attack. So don't try to tell me it causes heart attacks. Why don't you give it to somebody post-heart attack then to help them recover and feel better? Anyway, and besides that, we're not talking about getting mad crazy trying to get to like 2,000 or something. We're talking about if the man's just a little over 300, he's like 304. Rock bottom of what they consider to be normal is around 270, around. It's not even specific. It's not even a hard, fast rule. And it could have run as high as 1070 and been considered normal. So I'd say 304 is pretty damn low. So without a question, I would be looking for some replacement therapy. And there's numerous ways to do it. I'll tell you myself, the first that I had was the actual gel, the andro gel. And I was good with that. I like the gel. Now, regardless what anybody thinks, I've been lifting a long, long time to look like this. And yeah, there was a time when I used pretty healthy doses of test. But those times would be are past me. They're gone. There was also a time when I was a hell of a fighter and used to fight competitively. Those times are long gone, right? Things change as you age. So I'm at replacement, I'm over replacement level, what they consider replacement level, but not by much. I'm 200 mgs over replacement level weekly, on the high end of the replacement level, right? So I'm at like 500 mgs weekly. I won't stay there forever. I think it's a little high still. There's going to be people who think it's nothing. They can't believe it because they think it's a small amount. But to me, I'm not going to stay there long. I'll tell you what, I'll probably by before this year's out, I'll probably be back down to like 200 a week, which I prefer to be there because I don't like the delivery system and whole 9 years. I'm sick of all of that. Christ, it's been 30 years I've been doing bodybuilding, and I've had periods of time where I've been totally natural for 6 years, totally natural for 7 years, and then before I ever did anything, I was totally natural for about 6 years there. So it's never been, it's always been just to play around, try this, try that. I gave it a fair shot here and there, but it's not like I can't roll without it. At my age today, 54, yeah, I'm down with the TRT, and by the end of this year, before the end of this year gets here, I'll be down to like 200 mgs a week, and I think that's pretty decent for me. And I think that most guys, if you're running low, I think that that's going to get you up above where you're at, and you're going to feel better with that, or wherever the doctor prescribes for you. But absolutely look into replacement therapy. You're going to really reap a lot of benefits in your quality of life. It's going to be so much better for you. You're too young to have to accept that right now. You're too young to walk around feeling like you're 60. And believe it or not, there are guys that live that long that are around your range right now. There are guys, There are guys that, mine was always on the high end normally. So when mine started to drop down, it was a huge difference for me. Felt a lot different. So I feel you, and I know it feels a lot different. And if you do it, you're not going to regret it. And like I said, even if you only go with the gel or whatever, I think the gel's fine. And there's all kind of probably other methods I don't even know about. Shit, they ought to come out with a friggin' patch or something, but I know another person I know who has the implants, has some kind of little pellet implanted, and I think it lasts for like 6 months or something, something like that. That's no fuss, no muss. It's just time released or degrades or whatever and releases on its own. So these are replacement doses, and there's nothing wrong with women who choose to use birth control, or women who choose to replace their estrogen levels as they age. Or a lot of times when women go through menopause now, they prescribe testosterone. They prescribe testosterone now, some really, really low dose. So nobody, examines this and decries this. So, I wouldn't worry about what anybody else says. You're the one that's living your life. You know what you got to do. What you have to get up and make happen in the course of the day. And if you don't want to walk around feeling like you're 60 when you're only 28 years old, yeah, I would absolutely look into this. There's no shame in it, and there's no stigma attached to it. It's just medication, just like a lot of other medications. So, Christ, you have people today won't even change their diet and exercise. Instead, they'd rather use insulin. Now, true enough, you have people that have some kind of a genetic component, or that they have a deficiency or defect where they're diabetic, and doesn't have anything to do with their lifestyle. It's just is part of their makeup. And they need insulin or whatever. That's the real deal thing. They can't help that. But the majority of people that have diabetes in the USA, they literally basically are choosing to have it. They're choosing to have it, which is like ridiculous. When all they got to do is get their ass on a piece of cardio equipment and modify their diet, and then come off that insulin, straighten themselves back out. They won't do it. It's just like people with cholesterol, They don't want to exercise, they don't want to modify their diet. Hell, now they got a pill. Take a pill to bring that cholesterol down. High blood pressure. There's a number of ways to deal with that without medication. But what does everybody do? They go for medication. They're relieved when they find out there's a medication. Oh, thank God, I can just take this and keep on rolling with my life. Yeah, well, you're betting your life on it. That's what you're doing. Anyway, that's what I would say. Go ahead, man. Go ahead and God bless. Push forward and look into the TRT, find a reputable clinic or doctor or whatever the case may be. And if you can't find a reputable clinic or doctor, I mean, I know one really reputable clinic that a lot of older guys go to. I don't know how they, where you're located. I guess you're probably too far away. But anyway, they're out there and they're around, so I would absolutely look into it.